The 12-ounce bags of market-site broccoli florets may be contaminated with listeria.
There's a recall for broccoli sold at Walmart that could be contaminated with listeria. You try to eat healthy, maybe a few vegetables with dinner, a piece of fruit for breakfast, just like your doctor recommends. But here's the shocking truth. Today's grocery stores are not giving you what you think you're buying. Some of that produce is washed in chlorine, sprayed until it glistens, and weeks past its prime before it even reaches the shelf. This isn't the wholesome food you grew up with. Stick around, because by the end of this video, you'll discover why the vegetables in your cart could be far more dangerous than you ever imagined. Before we dive in, do me a quick favor. Smash that like and subscribe if you love saving money without sacrificing your health. And hit the bell so you never miss the insider tips that help you shop smarter, spend less, and still get the very best. Let us start with our number 6, Kroger and its hidden hazards. On paper, Kroger is the second largest grocery chain in the United States. It looks impressive, colorful, and inviting, especially in the produce section. But bigger does not always mean better. And behind the neatly stacked fruits and vegetables, the truth is far from fresh. Former employees have pulled back the curtain on some shocking practices. One former Kroger produce clerk shared on a popular message board, "We had a standing rule to rotate everything except when we were short-staffed, which was almost always. That meant older produce sat out for far longer than it should have, silently aging while customers assumed they were buying fresh." Multiple employees have confirmed that shipments often arrive in a half-rotted condition, especially bananas, tomatoes, and strawberries. And the solution is almost always cosmetic. Wipe it down, stack it up, sell it. Some stores even use what is known as the miracle spray, a mix of lemon juice and cold water. The purpose is not to clean the produce, but to make wilted lettuce and spinach appear crisp and fresh. Customers believe they are buying just picked vegetables, but in reality they are buying slightly better-looking spoiled goods. The pre-cut section is an even bigger concern. Bagged lettuce, diced onions, celery sticks, and vegetable trays may seem convenient, but they are often bacteria playgrounds. Time and temperature are critical, yet at some Kroger stores, employees admitted to assembling these packs at the start of the day and leaving them out for hours before refrigeration, or skipping the fridge entirely when space ran out. One insider explained, "It is not uncommon to find veggie trays sitting out in the back room for half a shift before anyone remembers to put them away." Kroger has also faced issues with misleading signage. In a 2021 audit, multiple locations were caught labeling imported produce as locally grown. That zucchini you thought was from your state? The shipping label told a different story. It came from Guatemala. Complaints were filed by customers, but most received no meaningful response. Pests are another ongoing problem. In Cincinnati, a shopper filmed flies crawling over mushrooms and bell peppers. Kroger promised enhanced sanitation protocols, but just 2 weeks later, a similar infestation appeared at a nearby store. And it is not just insects. One Kroger location in Georgia was temporarily closed after a customer discovered rodent droppings behind a produce cooler. The shocking part is that the customer, not the staff, found it first. Then there are Kroger's produce value bins, large tubs of mixed vegetables sold at deep discounts. Sounds good, right? But where does that produce come from? Several employees have revealed that these bins are filled with damaged, bruised, or nearly expired vegetables that could no longer be sold at full price. One employee put it bluntly, "If you see a value bin, just know someone had to dig through the trash to make it." At Kroger, the produce section is designed to look fresh and abundant, but the reality is a mix of shortcuts, cosmetic fixes, and safety risks. Customers may think they are making smart choices, but the odds are they are walking away with vegetables that are far older, less safe, and less nutritious than they realize. Next up with number 5 is Giant. Giant is a grocery chain with a name that promises scale, abundance, and convenience, but not necessarily high standards or fresh quality. At first glance, Giant's produce section looks like any other grocery store. Clean aisles, neatly stacked fruits and vegetables, bright overhead lighting that makes everything look appealing. But that lighting might be doing more than just illuminating the shelves. It might be hiding serious problems behind the scenes. Multiple former employees have revealed that the way produce is arranged is often designed purely for visual effect, not for proper rotation or food safety. One former worker explained, "They told us to build towers with the newer items on top and older ones on the bottom. The goal was simple: make it look full and fresh, even if it wasn't. That means the tomato you casually grabbed from the middle of the pile could have been sitting there for days, maybe since Monday, quietly deteriorating." Customers have noticed these issues firsthand. One shopper in Pennsylvania posted a photo of a plastic-wrapped veggie tray with condensation trapped inside, captioning it, "Looks like it is sweating out its regrets." Another shopper bought a bag of spinach from Giant that turned completely black just 2 days later. When they checked the package date, they found it was suspiciously rubbed off, not removed, just enough smudge to make it unreadable. Stock rotation is a recurring problem as well. A former produce employee described how expired cucumbers and tomatoes were routinely removed from the shelves, reorganized, and then resold in prepackaged deals like 3 for $2. When asked why this was allowed, the manager's response was blunt. "Better in a sale than in the bin." It is not just about poor management. Pest infestations have been an ongoing issue too. In 2022, a Maryland location had to discard hundreds of pounds of produce after a fruit fly infestation spread from the banana shelf to nearby leafy greens. But before the contaminated fruit was removed, it sat on the floor for hours, still accessible to unsuspecting customers. One shopper reported seeing a swarm of gnats hovering over the organic apples, while another found visible webs tangled between the stems of cilantro. Perhaps the most concerning problem is training, or the lack of it. One employee revealed that the average Giant produce worker receives less than 2 hours of food safety training before being expected to manage an entire department completely solo during off-peak hours. That means decisions about freshness, sanitation, and safety often fall to someone who barely knows the rules. At Giant, what looks like a clean, well-stocked produce section on the surface may actually be a house of hidden hazards. Every time you reach for what appears to be a fresh tomato or a crisp bag of greens, you are rolling the dice on quality, safety, and your health. And this brings us to number 4, Safeway. Safeway tries hard to look upscale. Soft lighting, tidy displays, and a layout that screams sophistication, all paired with prices that quietly remind you they know you did not check the receipt. It looks polished, it feels premium, but beneath that shiny surface, Safeway has its own deep-seated problems in the produce aisle. Former employees have spilled the truth about a practice called rotation theater. This is where older, wilted, or slightly spoiled produce is placed on top of fresher shipments to sell it faster. So, if you thought you were picking up a just-delivered head of Roma, chances are you were actually buying yesterday's leftovers. And the shocking part is, Safeway is not even trying to hide it. A viral Reddit post from a former employee showed a crate of moldy bell peppers being wiped superficially with paper towels and shoved straight onto the display. The manager's blunt words? If the customer does not touch it, they will not know. Temperature control is another recurring disaster. Over the past 5 years, health inspections across Safeway locations in California, Washington, and Arizona flagged multiple stores for improper cooling of perishables. That means your pre-cut watermelon cup could have been left hours in the danger zone between 40 and 140 degrees Fahrenheit, where bacteria grow exponentially. In one location, a broken walk-in cooler meant moving everything into the floral fridge and hoping for the best. Cleanliness, or the lack thereof, is equally alarming. Safeway's vegetable misting systems, designed to make lettuce glisten and radishes look like they just ran a marathon, are rarely cleaned properly. One employee admitted, "There is stuff growing in the pipes. You do not see it, but you smell it when you open the back valve. That mist you think is refreshing? It might be carrying a fungal cocktail straight onto your salad." And the horror stories do not stop there. A shopper in Oregon found a tiny worm curled up inside her pre-washed spinach bag. Another in Colorado bit into a cherry tomato, only to find it completely black inside, collapsing like a wet balloon while still looking perfect on the outside. Even worse, it came from the fresh pick of the day display. The organic section is not immune either. Employees at some Safeway locations confessed that when they run out of organic kale, they simply place regular kale into the empty bins to avoid gaps, meaning customers pay premium prices for labels that are meaningless. Then there is packaging. Those convenient pre-cut vegetable trays are ticking bacterial time bombs. The cut edges give bacteria a direct pathway, and the plastic wrap traps moisture, creating the perfect breeding ground. One former deli worker said it bluntly, "If you would not eat a wet carrot that sat on your counter for 12 hours, you should not be eating these pre-packaged trays. The produce sections are built for optics. Keep it colorful, keep it full, keep it moving. But what is missing behind that glossy surface is the care, proper handling, and basic food safety that customers assume is happening. Sure, washing helps, but it cannot fix vegetables that were already contaminated. left in broken coolers for days, or sprayed to look fresh. Here's the twist. These stores are counting on you not noticing. They know most people do not inspect every celery stalk under a bright light. They know you will not pull apart every Roma leaf. But once you start looking, the red flags become impossible to ignore. Wilted ends, soft spots, condensation inside plastic packaging. You start asking yourself, why does this asparagus smell like gym socks? Or, how is this salad already slimy when I just bought it yesterday? Safeway may be giants of the grocery world, but when it comes to vegetables, the customer is not always right. They are simply the last to know. If this is already making you check your fridge a little closer, give this video a like, hit subscribe, and stay tuned because we are only just getting started. Let us move over to number 3, Family Dollar. Family Dollar may not carry fresh vegetables in every store, but enough of their locations stock canned, packaged, and even limited fresh produce to make them worth a closer look. The problem is, many of these stores are exactly the ones you do not want to buy from if you care about freshness, safety, or quality. In 2023, Family Dollar made shocking headlines when over 400 stores were forced to temporarily close due to a massive rodent infestation at a central distribution warehouse. That very warehouse supplied dozens of Family Dollar locations with food, including fruits and vegetables. U.S. Food and Drug Administration inspectors reported finding live rodents, dead rodents, rodent feces, and even urine in areas used for storing and distributing food. The company's response was to quietly remove affected products, but not always completely. Some customers reported purchasing canned vegetables from stores in the recall zone weeks after the announcement. Others discovered bags of onions and garlic emitting strange odors, despite being months past their expiration dates. Even without the warehouse scandals, in-store practices at Family Dollar raise serious concerns. Many locations do not have proper refrigeration for perishable vegetables. That means items that should be kept cold are often left on room temperature shelves for hours, or even days, before anyone notices. One employee admitted, "If the AC goes out, we keep selling produce unless it smells." Weekly deliveries are often inconsistent, and sometimes produce isn't delivered at all. When shelves look empty, managers resort to reusing old stock or repurposing expired items just to keep the display looking full. Moldy bell peppers get wiped down, soft potatoes rotated forward, and shriveled onions dusted off and placed back in the bins. In some cases, repackaging occurs. One shopper from Georgia reported finding a plastic produce bag labeled with a Best By date from January, yet in late March the sticker had been replaced. When questioned, the cashier shrugged and said, "It is still good, just dry." Spoiler, it was definitely not still good. The physical conditions of many Family Dollar locations add to the risks. Stores in lower-income areas often suffer from chronic underfunding, understaffing, and poor maintenance. Dirty floors, broken coolers, leaking ceilings, and cramped, disorganized produce sections are not rare anomalies. They are routine. Combine all of this with limited staff and minimal oversight, and the produce section becomes a ticking time bomb of spoiled, contaminated, and potentially unsafe vegetables. Shopping at Family Dollar for fresh produce is like gambling with your health. The odds are stacked against you, and the consequences are often not discovered until after you take your first bite. Now let us look at number 2, Walmart. Walmart is huge. It's the place where you can grab socks, a blender, and a zucchini all within a few steps of each other. It looks convenient, it looks clean, it looks like the one-stop shop of your dreams. But when it comes to vegetables, Walmart is not the bargain or the fresh paradise it pretends to be. Behind those automatic doors, former employees have revealed some shocking, unsettling truths about what really happens in the produce section. One ex-produce worker in Texas admitted, "We used to get boxes of lettuce that were already going bad. We would just peel off the slimy outer leaves, spray it down, and toss it on the shelf as if it were fresh." Walmart's obsession with rock-bottom prices creates a chain reaction that stretches all the way from the farm to your shopping cart. They push suppliers to meet impossible cost demands, which often means vegetables are picked too early, stored far longer than ideal, and shipped across states before they even hit the store. That bag of spinach you grabbed last Sunday? It could have been harvested 10 days ago in another state, sat in transit for 4 grueling days, and then been dumped in the back cooler until the shelf needed refilling. And sometimes, The cold chain breaks entirely. Whistleblowers have posted videos showing pallets of cucumbers left at room temperature overnight simply because there wasn't enough time to unload the truck properly. This isn't just a problem with freshness. It's a problem with basic sanitation. One customer in North Carolina snapped a photo of a cabbage display crawling with gnats. Walmart's response? We are looking into it. Fantastic. Meanwhile, at another store, a toddler was filmed licking tomatoes from a lower bin, and no employee stepped in for over 3 minutes. Later, that same bin was refilled without being cleaned, ready for the next unsuspecting customer. Labeling adds another layer of deception. You might spot stickers claiming vegetables are organic or locally grown, but a 2022 investigation found several Walmart stores were mislabeling imported produce from Mexico as local. That is not just misleading. It could be dangerous. Imported vegetables may have been grown with pesticides that are banned in the United States, washed in untreated water, or handled under conditions that would never be allowed in local farms. Every sticker, every sign, every shiny display is not always what it seems. Finally, let us take a closer look at number 1. Food Lion. This grocery chain is especially popular across the southeastern United States. Their slogan promises easy, fresh, and affordable. 2 of those claims might hold some truth, but the fresh part is highly questionable. Food Lion's produce section is often smaller than most of its competitors, which makes it almost impossible to hide aging vegetables. One shopper in Virginia posted a photo of celery stalks so dried out and brown at the base that they looked decades old. Yet they were still displayed with a manager's special sticker. A former employee confirmed, if we could sell it before the mold appeared, it went straight out onto the floor. Like many budget chains, Food Lion relies heavily on bulk deliveries, sometimes only once or twice per week. That means vegetables like cucumbers, bell peppers, and kale can sit for days, sometimes nearly a week, before they are unpacked and displayed for sale. One whistleblower from North Carolina revealed that the store's backroom cooler was so overstocked that crates of vegetables were occasionally stacked in the hallway, completely unrefrigerated. This is not just sloppy. It is a major food safety risk. Food safety violations at Food Lion have also made headlines. In a 2019 state inspection, a South Carolina location was cited for holding pre-cut fruit at over 55 degrees, which is 15 degrees above the safe limit. Inspectors also noted that salad mix packages were leaking onto other items. The store's solution? Simply wipe the mess off and put it back on the shelf. Even more disturbing, multiple Food Lion employees have admitted online that managers encourage the use of expired produce in other items. Old tomatoes can end up chopped into pico de gallo, and wilted spinach might be tossed into a fresh sauté blend. One deli cook stated bluntly, "If it can be chopped, we use it. Even if it is slimy, we just trim the edges." Customers have encountered shocking surprises as well. A woman in Alabama posted a video of a sealed bag of carrots that were covered in slimy residue and turning gray inside the package. Another shopper in Tennessee found live bugs crawling inside a bag of coleslaw mix that still had 5 days left on its sell-by date. This is the kind of reality you hope never reaches your plate, but it does, more often than you might think. And it is not just about the vegetables themselves. Food Lion's produce displays are often made of rough wood or porous plastic. That may not sound alarming at first, but these surfaces are rarely cleaned properly. Bacteria, leftover moisture, and old food particles can accumulate in the cracks, creating the perfect breeding ground for contamination. One employee admitted, "We clean them once a week maybe. Most of the time, we just sweep out the old lettuce bits and call it a day." So what does all of this really tell us? At Kroger and Food Lion, the produce section is not a place of precision, pride, or care. It is a stage, a set, a well-lit illusion designed to look fresh and abundant. The moment you peek behind the curtain, you realize just how fragile the performance really is. The colors are brighter than the quality, the freshness is faked with water misters, and the trust customers place in these stores is built on the hope that no one looks too closely. Once you know what to look for, the condensation inside plastic wrap, the shriveled kale hiding on the bottom shelf, the way pre-cut carrots turn white at the edges, you can never unsee it. These are not isolated incidents. They are patterns, habits, and cost-cutting tactics wrapped in green produce bags and fogged-up glass cases. Shopping for vegetables at these stores is not just a risk to freshness. It is a gamble with your safety and your standards. And the worst part is you do not realize it until you are already home, halfway through dinner, and wondering why your salad tastes like old water and regret. So what's the takeaway? Here's the uncomfortable truth. The safest, cleanest, and most nutritious vegetables are not guaranteed by a brand name, a glossy flyer, or a fresh sign. You cannot shop blind anymore, not with today's store habits, and not in this economy. The solution isn't hoping a label tells the truth. It's training your eyes, your hands, your nose. Snap those stems, smell the leaves, check for sweat under plastic. If the carrots bend instead of snap, walk away. If the pre-cut salad smells sour, trust yourself. And if that tomato is shinier than your shoes, ask yourself why. You have more power than you think. Every time you skip a moldy bin, pass on a bruised bag of lettuce, or say no to a soggy value pack, you're sending a message. That message travels all the way back to the store, the supplier, the industry. Food is not just about price, it's about trust. And once that trust is broken, no sale is worth the stomachache. So look closer, ask questions, and never let the word fresh fool you again. You deserve to know exactly what you're bringing home. Tap like, hit subscribe, and help someone else see behind the shine. If you think vegetables are tricky, wait until you see what's lurking in your pantry. Don't miss our next video, 7 canned foods you should never eat. And 2, you should. It will change the way you shop forever. Thanks for your time with us at Smart Frugal Hub. We truly appreciate you. Until the next video, stay smart, stay frugal, and take care.